Well, the Cowboys fan can be whatever they want to be, but we've got 6 years of body of work. We've got a season of work with this Dallas Cowboys team. They're inconsistent, and they were very inconsistent yesterday. They were sloppy with the football, Skip. Dak turned it over twice. They got stuff at a goal-to-go situation on fourth down. So so this is what we've seen this team do. We've seen this team fly high, soar, but we've also seen this team lay eggs. Couple of weeks ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Detroit was going in to take the lead. They punched the ball out, and then they take off. We see the same thing 2 weeks ago, I think, with the Colts. They're going in. The Colts are going in for a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and then all of a sudden the Colts turn the ball over. And then yesterday they make Jeff Driscoll and Davis Mills running around the field, and they're just making plays all over the place. He's like, is this the Cowboys defense?
By the way, Jerry Jones said we made them look like Brett Favre. Thank you.
Well, okay. So he saw what I saw also.
Yes.
I'm seeing guys roll out of the pocket, throw the ball for touchdowns. Guys all of a sudden look like Stephon 2 and 3 receivers looking like true number 1 receivers, like they've been all pro for the last 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, somebody named Chris Moore. Go ahead.
Chris Moore.
Yep.
But Skip, your offense is what was really disappointing yesterday. And you look at Dak on passes of 10-plus air yards. He was 6 of 14, 148 yards. He had good yardage, but he was under 50% completion percentage. And on such passes this season, Skip, he has 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's kind of who Dak is. Tony Pollard is still your most explosive offensive player. I mean, you guys 31 rushes. What you have, 31 rushes? Again, you're out of balance. 31 rushes, 39 pass attempts. I don't know. Maybe the Cowboys don't get these numbers that we get. Maybe they get some other kind of numbers that when you run the football considerably more than you throw it, you're like unblemished. You're damn near unbeatable. But when you flip it over, you either lose the game or you bring a team that you should handle handedly, you bring them into the mix. So maybe the Cowboys are not getting the stats that we're getting, Skip. But this is what we've seen. Cowboys enter the game, Skip, favored by 17, more than anybody.
17 and a half.
Okay, 17 and a half.
By far the largest spread of the year. By far.
And it will probably be the largest spread of the year.
It will be. I would agree.
And the Texans are playing without the top 2 receivers, Brandon Cook, Nico Collins, and then they're rotating quarterbacks. These quarterbacks were combined 4-25 coming into the game, and they were 20 of 27, 213 yards, touchdown, interception. Skip, now all of a sudden, you saw what the Jags did on the road to Tennessee. Now, all of a sudden, what was a foregone conclusion? You were talking about, oh, we got this one in the bag. All of a sudden, this one ain't in the bag anymore. It might be in the bag, but the bag is open. So at any given time, whatever's in the bag can jump out of the bag because you haven't closed it.
I would agree.
And then you come home against the Eagles, Skip. We saw this team, less than a month ago, Skip, go up to Green Bay and have a 14-point lead, head into the fourth quarter, and somehow you found a way to lose the game. So the Cowboy fans, Skip, they can be disappointed, or you can be excited that you won the game. You can be emboldened, like all of a sudden it's a foregone conclusion, but your team is inconsistent. And you know this for a fact, Skip. If you play like they played yesterday, or you play with the inconsistency in which they played with thus far, Skip, you're going home with 1 game. Now, I will say this. There's a good chance that I don't believe you're going to catch the Eagles. So I believe you'll be sitting in the 5 seed, which will get the 4 seed, which will be the winner of the NFC South. If I'm the Cowboys, I think I will stay right where I am. I don't want to go nowhere because I want Carolina, I want Atlanta, or I want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't want to see anybody else.
They got the Buccaneers on opening Sunday night, and what happened?
Have you seen the Buccaneers since? Have you seen the Buccaneers? I don't know if your team, I might need to get you, that's what I'm going to get you for Christmas. I'm going to get you a TV this Christmas that show Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in all their non-glory. But Skip, your Cowboys are inconsistent. You're very fortunate to win the football game yesterday, but you won a football game because that's what 1 and 11 teams, that's what they do. They find a way to win the game. Lose the game. Because when Dak threw the interception, Skip, I just sat back. I said, yeah, got this one. They're going to punch this thing in, go up by 10. Dak, you get a bunch of yards, you probably score with like 30 seconds left in the game.
And what happened?
And you won't be able to get the one. On fourth down, they run a whirly bird option like this guy is Jamel Holloway. Like he's back and skipping back in old Oklahoma days, Skip. You know they run the whirly bird option.
It's called spin option. And my school, the University of Oklahoma, the school I grew up loving, perfected it. They invented it and they perfected it, and that was a disaster.
So you've never seen the NFL team run it?
I think it was a busted play, actually. I think he went the wrong way and then tried to go the right way too late. That's what I think happened. And Shannon Sharpe threw something at the television.
I did. I absolutely did. I like, Lovey, Pep, what the hell were you guys doing?
What were you doing? Okay, my turn. I'm actually going to answer the question that was posed because you didn't take a side. You wouldn't pick. You said you didn't care what side I'm on.
No.
Okay, Dallas Cowboy fans, you should be emboldened by what you saw yesterday because it started great and it ended even greater.
Is that what you mean it started great? Skip, you were behind for the most part of the game.
Did you see the opening drive? It was flexing firepower. It was 76 yards in 9 plays. It's exactly what you should do against a team that is, 110-1?
Yes.
And a 17.5-point dog. And it's a game that Shannon Sharpe and I both picked 38-10 Dallas, right?
Yes.
That's how you open that game. You go 76-9, and they actually ran the ball more than they threw it in that drive.
Yeah.
They just ran it right down the Texans' throats, and it's the kind of drive that should say, that's it, go back to Houston with the tail between your legs,
But
right?
see, that's what you thought. You thought the Texans was going to go back to Texas.
And my defense roared out and held the Texans to a very quick 3-and-out, and it's time for a punt, right?
Yep.
Before I get to that, before I get to the sequence, my big picture answer here is I saw many, many, many things yesterday that were troubling to the point of revolting for me as a Dallas Cowboy lifelong diehard fan. But in the end, it is hard to win games in this league. In the end, it's sometimes the hardest to beat a team that is a 17.5-point dog when your eyes are past Jacksonville all the way to Christmas Eve. I believe my team is looking ahead to a fault to Christmas Eve because they are going to beat the Eagles on Christmas Eve at Jerry World. They are going to wreak revenge on the Eagles. They know it. I know it, and unfortunately, the Texans didn't know it because the Texans were sitting pretty as an arch rival that I told you on Friday. It's a one-way rivalry. Houston versus Dallas has historic rivalry, but the Cowboys don't take the Texans seriously, especially this year, while the Texans viewed this as their quote-unquote Super Bowl against those Dallas Cowboys, America's team. We're going to go in there and embarrass America's team. And I still think Lovey can coach. I know they're awful right now, but I've always respected and admired him as a coach. And I thought once upon a time, this is going back to like 2010.
When they had the Bears?
No, I'm going back to Pep Hamilton.
Oh,
I thought he was going to be the next hot new head coach, and Herman Edwards at ESPN kept pulling me aside saying, Pep Hamilton, keep your eye on Pep Hamilton. He's the next guy. He's the it guy. And I don't know what happened, but he called a masterful game yesterday, I thought, given what he had to work with.
Except when they got the ball.
Okay, I got it. But he kept them in the game because they kept going at Micah with all kinds of screens and option plays and RPOs and one thing after another. They did a very good job of just hanging in the game, if not staying in command of the game for the most part. So all I know is we finished with a flourish. All I know is I'm going to agree with what Jerry's last line to the reporters was yesterday. I think we're a better team than when we entered the game. And you can laugh at that all you want, but I do think there's some good scar tissue out of this game. Okay. You saw your mortality flash right before your very eyes because for the longest time, and by the way, when I tweet, I just tweet in live. I'm doing it in real time. So I say what I see. I am a terribly objective Cowboy fan. And listen, if they stink, I say we are stinking. Right. And when they end it with a Baker-esque 98-yard drive to close the game, I'm going to glorify in that.
Well, how about saying this? Look, we won the ball game, but I saw a lot of disturbing things in this ball game that would call. But you can't say you're emboldened. You're like, oh, I'm emboldened.
No, I'm emboldened because we're 10-3 and we're on the way to Jacksonville. And I promise you, we will take the Jaguars far more seriously than we took the Texans because they kicked the you-know-what out of a team that usually kicks the you-know-what out of everybody they play.
And they did that on the road. They went in their building.
Yeah.
They went to Jackson. They went to Tennessee. Yeah.
And it was, listen, that young quarterback, he's a stud now.
He can make every throw, and he got legs.
He's 6'5", 6'5", right?
Easy.
6'5", easy.
A big kid.
And he made some big throws. And all of a sudden, Evan Ingram, a blast from the past.
The Giants said, where was that for 4 years?
What was that? Okay, so this is going to be degree of difficulty.
Yes.
Just ratchet it up through the roof, right?
Yes,
okay, so here we go. Now back to the stream of consciousness here that happened in this game. So we are sitting pretty. We're on the cusp of winning this game 38-10. And little Cavante Turpin, who has made no mistakes the whole year, he's been a godsend. He's been a factor in every game because he just puts so much pressure on the coverage teams because he can escape. And yet on this punt, he was going to do too much with it. He waited too long. I thought he deserved a flag. I'm going to return it. Wait a second. Maybe I shouldn't return it. And kaboom. All of a sudden, you give them a short field, and all of a sudden, they throw into the fray out of nowhere. I didn't see this coming. Jeff Driscoll. What do I know about Jeff Driscoll? Although I know he started at Florida, but do you remember the game in 2019? I know we came right out here the next day and talked about it because he was starting for the Detroit Lions at Detroit. And it was a 35-27 game that went to the bitter end because Jeff Driscoll was pretty good in the game because he goes about 6'5", 240-ish. And would you believe he timed 4.5 in his pro day? So he has some athletic ability. He throws it okay. He's not great, but he throws it okay. And they had a package for him of all kinds of RPOs and option plays and this and that, and where he could use his legs as well as his arm. So they cash it quickly, and all of a sudden it's 7-7. Then we get to Mike McPenalty, as I call him, although we only had 3 penalties yesterday, so that was progress.
That's a positive.
Right? Okay, that's the one positive.
Back week, I think
three penalties. Okay, so we're starting to show you that we're actually a credible professional football team that can actually hold themselves to 3 penalties a game. Okay, so now we come to a challenge play where somebody woke up Mike McCarthy on the sideline, and he actually challenged a play that was a 36-yard pass to the aforementioned Chris Moore, and McCarthy rightfully challenged it and wrongly lost the challenge. Okay, so all of a sudden they get a 36-yard completion and they get a field goal out of it. And all of a sudden I look up and we are trailing. We're supposed to win 38-10 as a 17.5-point favorite, and we are trailing 10-7. All right, now we get a Dak pass. This was one that worked that shouldn't have worked. James Washington got a little run early in the game for the first time, number 83. All of a sudden, he comes out of nowhere. He hadn't played all year. Remember, once upon a time at Oklahoma State, he won the Biletnikoff Award. He was a second-round pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he finally was healthy enough to get some run early in the game, and Dak hit him right in the hands with a little slant route. It's his first target of the year, and he dropped it, and that was the end of him. And Noah Brown said, well, I got this.
But Skip, that was his problem in Pittsburgh.
It was his problem.
He had the drops.
Okay. Had 11 passes tipped at either the line of scrimmage or in the secondary before they arrived at said target. 11 passes tipped. Would you believe that the most passes that have been tipped by any quarterback all year in the National Football League were 6? Okay, so he had 11 yesterday. He almost doubled it in one game. What is that about? So 11 of his 39 passes didn't get to the intended target before a Texan got his hand or fingertips on the football. Okay, well, that's no good. So you're throwing more and more into traffic. You're trying harder and harder to be like ridiculously good where you're dangerously good, right? You're throwing passes into traffic you should not risk.
They're making Skip. If you look, they played a lot of coverage too yesterday. They played a lot of coverage.
Well, I mean, Lovey's just known for it.
He's known for Tampa too. And so, Skip, I'm going to force Dak to throw the ball in the window. I'm not going to give you wide open throws. I'm not going to have guys running past us, or you're doing the play action and you're CD, or you have Schultz doing the over routes. So I'm going to make you throw the ball in the windows. And he probably should have let Noah Brown clear a little more, give the guy credit because he reached back, because he was going to clear, take the flat, and he reached back and got his hand in there and he tipped it up, and the guy made a great play on it.
Okay, and then Driscoll comes right back and might have been the best throw of his life, and little Amari Rodgers, late of the Packers, catches his first NFL touchdown pass. He never caught one in Green Bay. You've got to catch that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And that's when I started to think, is this really going to happen? Because we have to settle for a field goal, and it's 17-17, which brings me to the third quarter. And the play of the game, Donovan Wilson rips the ball out of little Pierce's hand, and all of a sudden it's loose on the carpet. It's 2 offensive linemen.
Man, he's exhausted.
He's exhausted. Trevon Diggs, who runs for a living, Ran out of gas.
Not like that, though, Skip.
Yeah.
you told him
like
to go
that.
straight ahead,
Okay.
but he ran like 40 yards back to get 20 yards.
Because if he had been able to accelerate at that point, I think the offensive line were equally gassed, and I don't think they would want any part of trying to get him on the ground. I think he might have been able to score. But at least he scooped, if not scored.
Right.
But at least we suddenly had the football, and we blasted all the way down to a 4th and goal at the 1. We're just going to blow you off the football. No, you didn't blow him off the football. And all of a sudden, I look up, and Zeke loses 2 yards on the play. And again, if Tony Pollard's in, I want to toss it to him. I want to get him on the edge. I want to do something. I want to do a little misdirection. I want to do some Kyle Shanahan.
Dak should have pulled that old Peyton Manning. Remember what he did to you guys?
He did.
He kept it. And he's over handoff, and then he kept it and walked into the end zone.
Well, any of that would work for me. But they just said power on power. And I just don't think Zeke is that guy anymore. I don't think even Zeke can do that. And you just went over the carries. You saw what happened.
Yeah.
Zeke got 15 carries and had 62 yards. Pretty good, 4.1. Tony Pollard touched it 10 times for a grand total of 42 yards, which is 4.2.
Right.
I need more touches for Tony Pollard. That is deeply disturbing to me.
Well, you got his touches, Skip. He got you. Skip, they already done told you now. They're trying to keep the man touches somewhere between in that range of 12 to 18.
Okay, I just don't love it. Okay, now we get to interception number 2, which is thrown from the end zone.
That's cover 2. What does Dak see?
His arm got swiped because Josh Ball was in for Terrence Steele, who may be hurt. I don't know what the end of it is, but it didn't look good or sound good after the game. I look up, and they have it 1st and goal at the 4-yard line.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking you about to go down 10 points with about 3 minutes to go.
And my defense rose, and it's shown.
They did.
It's been that long since we had back-to-back 10 wins. So will I take? Yes, I will take it. Will I run with it? Yeah, I'm going to run with it because I think they're going to run with it. I still say it's over, it's forgotten, it's onward, upward, and I think you take confidence from it instead of all this negativity.
You take confidence?
Yep, I do.
You beat the 110-1 Texans, and you taking confidence for that?
Did we beat them?
You did.
Did the Texans stop by your restaurant last night?
No.
Yes.
They don't get to come in.
They don't get to come in?
They're so bad. They're so bad now. We don't serve them.
You refuse service?
I refuse service.
You really? To the Houston
Yeah. And the Supreme Court says I don't have to.
Okay.
Well, Skip, I think your Cowboys might need to look to avoid a trap game against those Jaguars.
Yeah, no trap. They got them. I'm picking the Jags.
Right
Give me the points. Give me the points right now, and I'll take the Jags.
Franchise records yesterday.
I'm not going to give you 5.5. I'm not going to give you
The
5.5.
Jags.
All we got to do is win by 4. That's all we need.
That's the Jags.
Okay. Well, pick it. Go ahead and pick it. No.
Give me the point.
No.
If you're scared, just say shut up.
I'll take 5 cases right now for straight up.
Give me the 5 points. If
you just raving about them.
If you just say shut up, I'm a little afraid of this matchup.
No, I'm not going to say that.
But you are, though, right?
We got all week to talk about this.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.